Greetings! I am Shawn Redman, aka the cheesily named Darth Shawn. And while I'm a day late, I did promise my review of Star Wars Rebels Season 1, and so today that is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to bring my review of Star Wars Rebels Season 1. After Disney purchased Lucasfilm and had all of the Star Wars works, they had to end Clone Wars. Clone Wars was a deal with a different company, and then another animated show was revealed, and it was Star Wars Rebels. And I think a lot of people were a little hesitant with it. Not that they didn't believe in necessarily Dave Filoni and his crew, because of what they'd done with Clone Wars was so incredible, especially in the later seasons, how they'd really become Star Wars. But I think there was a little bit of question. It was going to be on Disney, which how much freedom would they give? We didn't know any of the characters, and that was something that was huge in Clone Wars, is from the beginning, we knew most of the characters, and we knew where most of these characters' ends were. With Rebels, these are almost all entirely new characters. Now, I know characters come in and out that we've seen before. Kanan has a comic, and Kanan and Hera are in A New Dawn. So there was a little bit before Rebels. New Dawn had come out actually before Rebels. But the newness of the characters meant it took a little bit. Those first 4, 5, 6 episodes were a little slow. Not that they were really bad. I think Spark of Rebellion, which was the opening movie, was really quite good. It introduced the characters and it revealed enough about them to move forward and pique your interest. I think the next couple of episodes were weaker, but they all tied in. Droids in Distress, the second episode, we got to see R2-D2 and C-3PO, and that was kind of cool. But in the end, it was just kind of a meh episode. But it was moving forward. It was developing the characters, and it allowed us to see what these characters would do. You know, the episode where they steal the TIE fighter, and the episode where they're on a different planet, and just all these different things that go on. But it all kind of started to build, and so it was still worthy of watch. But it wasn't like this amazing show like Clone Wars. And then the next episode happened. Depending on what way you look at it, episode 3 or episode 5, depending on how you look at Spark of Rebellion, if you count it as an episode or if you just count it as a movie before, Rise of the Old Masters is where this show started to pick up. It's the episode where Kanan and the crew realized that Jedi Master Luminar Unduli, well, I might have butchered that name, Luminar Unduli is still alive. And they go to rescue her, and it introduces the Inquisitor, and from that point on, the show really picks up. There's still some episodes that are a little worse than others, and there are much better episodes, but that's where from that point on we knew that it was going somewhere. We knew that in this universe it was something new, but it also had all this feel of the old universe. The Inquisitor was not like this super strong Vader, but he was definitely a force to be reckoned with, and as he chases through, then we got into the Ezra and you know, going behind the scenes and being a young cadet in the Stormtrooper Academy, and that was an interesting thing, even if it's not an amazing episode. So we introduced new characters there, and just then the growth that continued to come from those episodes. It was that growth of Ezra during that time that is really important to this show, and what made it a really good show. I think my favorite character is still Kanan, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but Ezra's growth is the most important part of the show. If Ezra just kind of stayed the same, the show wouldn't work. The show would just be pretty mediocre. You just have this basically Aladdin, orphan kid who is, just doing little things there. But it's the growth of he becomes more of a Jedi that was so important as the show went on. Is he stronger? No, not necessarily. We see that Ezra is actually quite weak when it comes to being a Jedi, but his ability to grow, the fact that he will, in later episodes, he starts to touch into the dark side a little bit, like he used the dark side. And then the episode where they find the Jedi Temple, and the growth that both he and Kanan go through in that episode, also a little cameo with you from Yoda, was really important as the overall season, as it's kind of that determination of, I'm going to be a Jedi, I'm going to be trained, and Kanan also coming to the realization is I'm going to train him, and he is my pupil, and I have to overwork for the things that I have done, or the things that I have been in the past. And that was a really cool story arc as it continued to grow, all the way to the end when Kanan is captured and they have to rescue him, which was easily probably the best episodes of the season, because it just was intense, but you can't have those episodes without the early episodes because there are so many different tidbits that are important to building into that. And that's why Rebel Season 1 works so well, because every episode is important. We may not realize it when watching the episode and maybe like, oh, well, they just stole a TIE fighter. That's not that important. It's just a kind of episode. I guess they kind of became friends. Okay, whatever, it's not bad, but whatever. But that episode is so important for the character's growth and just the actions later on in the season. And so that is just what made Rebels so good as a show, and how it flowed, how it built, and how it created upon. And that's why, as we get into season 2, if they continue to build upon it, and if they continue to go darker, as it looks like, it's going to be very important that they keep these characters grounded and make sure that you understand the characters more than anything. Because if dark decisions and dark things happen, you want to know that these characters, that there is still some light in them. As I said, my favorite character has got to be Kanan, though. He is really, really cool, and in so many different layers for Kanan that makes him my favorite. And it also comes in because I've read the comics and I've read New Dawn, so I know his backstory, and he has more than a lot of the characters. We know so much about him going into Rebels and everything, but it's also just that the development he goes through the season, his willingness to, as I said, to become the master for Ezra and try to undo some of the wrongs he's done. He still doesn't like to really be a team player, as we see later on, and going forward, he kind of wants to stay in his own zone. But it is a very important growth that he makes, because I think as we go through, and especially if they go the darker way, especially with Ezra being the character who's already hinted at some dark side, interaction. That doesn't mean Ezra's going to go to the dark side. Luke tampered with the dark side as he was growing throughout the original trilogy, so it's not unheard of a Padawan to kind of use some of the dark side. But it's very important that he has Kanan as that rock going forward, if they're going to do that, because you have to have that working. You have to have Kanan being there as a master, and his growth has been so important. And the voice of Freddie Prinze Jr. I was not someone who was really in love with the idea of Freddie Prinze Jr. coming aboard. It's not like that Freddie is a bad actor or that, anything there, but I always associate him with very non-Star Wars-esque things. So it was just something I was going to figure I'd get used to. But immediately, the moment you hear Kanan speak, the moment it goes through your ears, that's who you want Kanan to be. He is Kanan Jarrus, and it's a very great job by him. And I think he has elevated all the voice acting, which is all good. But he is the headliner in my mind. Like that, he is the best that goes forward and building that character. But the thing that really makes Rebels so good is the development of all the characters, whether it's Ezra, Sabine and her background, as we are starting to learn a little bit more. And I think season 2 is going to be more than that. Hera and everything that we've gotten for her, and just the way she's building the rebellion. Zeb, and while he's just kind of been the muscle or the Chewbacca element of it, he does have a lot of heart, everything through it. Chopper, just basically a kind of a renegade R2-D2, but really, really cool. And then you got the villains. The Inquisitor was cool, even if a little, underdeveloped, but still really cool. The fact that Tarkin came in, Vader comes in later. It's a lot of really cool villains. And then, of course, the greatest smuggler ever, Lando Calrissian. The characters just made this show so good. In the end, Star Wars Rebels is one of the best things we've gotten in the Star Wars universe. And that's just complete credit to Dave Filoni and his crew and the voice actors and just everything that they have done so far in bringing this show to levels that no one really could have imagined it got to. I said, being on Disney XD, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's going to be kidified," and it doesn't shy away from kiddie things, but it also doesn't shy away from being adult and being able to be Star Wars. And that's what made the original trilogy great in so many ways, is that it was appealing to all ages. And I think Rebels has done a really good job of being that. And as it goes forward, I think it's going to continue doing that. It is just something that is so wonderfully done. And it could have been terribly done. Like, just when you look at it on a shelf, how easy it would have been to you could have easily messed this up and could have just made it, it's just Star Wars. People will watch it. Who cares what we do? Who cares how we do the characters? Or, we'll just throw in, characters that to get you hooked. But they don't just do that. Everything has a purpose. And that is so impressive to see going forward. So go ahead, check out Rebels if you hadn't. It's not hard to get a hold of on Amazon, and you know, you can get the whole season. It's on Disney XD. If you got a DVR, just set a DVR and record it all and watch it in one sitting if you can. If not, just it's online. Find a way to watch Rebels, because I do not think you will be disappointed. I think you will look forward to season 2, which is coming out so soon, like I am, and just enjoying this show and what Dave Filoni. So, what do you guys think about Rebels? Was season 1 as good as I say it was, or do you think maybe it was a little weaker, or maybe you didn't like it? Are you excited for season 2? I've gotten multiple comments on both of my Rebels videos that have talking about the excitement. I've talked with a lot of people too around it. It seems like there's a lot of excitement for season 2. So are you excited for season 2? And what about it are you excited for? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I am Shawn Redman, aka the cheesily named Darth Shawn, and may the Force be with you always.